Whew, Huntington's disease Todd here. I'm back. This has been a real challenge. I'm sorry it took me so long to get back to this video, but I did want to also mention, today's title is Huntington's disease, the ununderstandable brain. That sounds like a word that George Bush may have made up. The ununderstandable brain. This thing can throw curveballs at anybody, and including me. So, I just wanted to go into, for some people that do or don't know, but I do have Huntington's disease, and I was diagnosed about 10 years ago. I started doing these videos 4 months ago, and through this time period, 4 months ago, it was much easier for what I was doing. I would say that back then I had attention deficit disorder, and now I feel more like I have mental challenge. Also, I took some time off from walking, and then that caused my brain to get into a whole different funk that I wasn't, planning on or thinking about. And then through it all, it started making me a little bit more, complacent and sitting around the house. So these videos have been few and far between. And some of the last few that I made, I wasn't very happy with the quality of them. I felt like they were forced, or like some of the audio wasn't great, that sort of stuff. What happens with YouTube pages, you have to have a chronological order of making videos, putting them on, doing all the right steps. That was kind of easier for me even 4 months ago. I'm saying all this to say that the Huntington's disease brain, for everyone out there with a loved one and everyone that has it, and I've said this before, and now I'm feeling it my own self, it can change even monthly, weekly, whatever. And now I feel like my brain is becoming harder to get through the process of making a video and putting it online. All that being said, and then too, some of the content I put on in the last few months wasn't as good as I had hoped it would be. I felt like I forced myself, if you can understand that. But all that being said, trying to be creative, trying to be somewhat consistent and somewhat whatever on YouTube. And doing it with Huntington's disease, it can be very challenging. But our brain is really ununderstandable. This disease is like that. You tell someone you have Huntington's disease, they don't really know what that means or how that affects you or anything like that. So I'm here to tell you that it's really an ununderstandable what's going on inside of our brains. I'm talking for everyone that has it, to the spouses, to the loved ones. When I was walking and started this process just 4 months ago, my brain was getting oxygenated and I was doing stuff and I was feeling great. But gosh, even when I quit walking just for a month or however long it was, everything seems like it went back, not just to square one, but it seems like it even went back further than that. So I say before I felt like I had, ADD, and now I say mix that in with now I feel kind of like I have, a mental challenge on top of that as well. I wanted to get a video out in the worst way because I wanted to replace the last one that I did, because the last one that I did was very, very choppy. I made a mistake on how I did my brand new microphone that I had. I've got new equipment and I hope to just keep on moving forward, but the videos that I'm producing may come slower, may come less, I don't know. One of the things that I did in the past is I did what I used to call Huntington's disease in a minute. I would put those out in a short format. I may start doing more of those. So as time goes on, you may see me, follow that format more. It's a little bit easier. Putting a video on is not the end of the world, but again, it takes planning, procedures, and all that. So for everyone out there that have a loved one with Huntington's disease, just please understand, the way we acted yesterday, the way we act today, and the way we act tomorrow, they could be totally different. And I'm feeling it like 100% in my own self right now. I would say that recently, I almost feel like I got a clamp on my brain, a vice grip. And it's squeezing my brain to the point where I just can't seem to have that same vigor and focus that I started off this process with. All that being said, I am not going to give up and I'm not going to quit or none of that kind of stuff. I'm going to do everything I can. I'm going to keep fighting through it. But just everyone needs to understand that when we say, that we don't want to do something today, or we say, we don't feel like it, or we say, sometimes that's a true thing inside our brain that just says, hey, you may want to go out to the car show tonight. You may want to go out this weekend to the beach. and your brain just totally says you're not going to do it. So that's how it is. I know that this will resonate with some people. I'm calling that again, Huntington's disease, the ununderstandable disease. It's just not easy for anyone to understand. You know, if you had a normal brain and then you compare it to mine or a Huntington's patient, you would have clear thoughts on almost everything going on in your life right now. You would know how you feel about, going out to dinner, going down, on the vacation that's coming up, buying or getting your first new car, or all the things in life that are so exciting. I just have a drab, not committed kind of feeling about any of that anymore. I don't have emotions about certain things that I used to have. Also, I was an avid churchgoer before. I'm not so much as that now. So, I've lost some of the sight of, some of the times that I used to pray and things like that. I'm going to try to get back to some of that in my life as well, because we all do have hope in God if we go to Him. So, all that being said, I could tell you, for all day long that my brain just doesn't act like yours, and you could just not understand it because your brain still acts like yours. You've got a brain that's really functioning pretty well, and I got a brain that's really not functioning very well at all. I love doing these videos, and I feel better today than I felt in a long time. I actually came in here right after my walk to do this because this has taken me about the last 4 weeks, again, of walking every morning, getting out there, getting the adrenaline going, getting the sweat going, to finally get to this point. I don't want to make this video too long, but I do want you to watch it. I do hope you will. What I could use is anyone that wants to make comments about ideas of what you would want to hear me talk about. Now, that may give me some direction and focus on things that I could try to formulate around formulate some information around the topic. I still have a lot of information left inside my noggin. It's getting harder to get it. And I'll tell you another thing that's really become harder for me too is putting it together in a straight line of thought. I could do before from beginning to end. I'm forgetting some of the stuff in the middle. So again, Huntington's disease is a challenge. I have it. Other people have it worse than me. I feel so bad for the families that suffer with this thing. But I do want to say that for us that have the lower CAGs, the 41s, the 40s, the 39s especially, maybe even 42, if you can, do everything in your younger days to keep your brain in good health. Do everything you can. No drugs, no alcohol, try to do exercise. I'm just telling you, I know from experience, I did alcohol earlier in my life. I resorted back to that for a minute through the process before, but now my clean mind that I have has to be exercised thoroughly to get it to work real well. So this is Huntington's disease, Todd. I'm so glad that we got a new video to post, and I will be taking down a few of the older ones that I just was not happy with at all as I look back on them. Go to my page and subscribe, and share this if it has meaning. And just remember, this Huntington's disease is all about the disease. It's not about the person. We love you and we care for you, and we're just sorry that we're all having to go through this. Okay? Huntington's disease, Todd.